Hello and welcome to this tutorial where we will look at saving a spreadsheet that contains a macro as a macro enabled file. Now I have a spreadsheet open at the moment which is currently in the state of after the very first video where we have recorded or we have written a macro, and at the moment it's still as a .xlsx file type. So it's a normal spreadsheet, but it contains a macro. If I was to go up and look at saving this file with my floppy disk button at the top there, immediately I should get this warning where Excel warns me that there is a VB project on here and that I shouldn't save it as a macro free workbook. If I want to continue saving as macro free, I could click yes. But otherwise I should click no and choose macro enabled from the file type list. If I save as a macro free workbook, it will remove my macro. So that is not a good idea. And if we're saving macros to files, we have to save them as macro enabled files. Very good that we get this warning. So that's kind of protecting us in a way from such a mistake. But important that we do so. Now I could click no here and it would immediately take me to immediately take me to my save as dialog box. Alternatively, I could look at doing that manually just through file save as. I'm going to click no as I'm at this stage, so I get the save as dialog box, which will be familiar with anyhow. Depending on the version of Windows you have, it may look a bit different to this. But saving just as any file. And what I'm going to do is down the bottom here where it's currently saving as an Excel workbook, I'm going to change that to an Excel macro enabled, where are you, workbook, which has a .xlsm extension. I'll click that and I'll keep it as the same name, Protect Formulas. That will work just fine. And I'm going to save that. So now it's a .xlsm file type. And I'll look at closing that file down. So now we've saved it, it's going to keep the macro so that it will be available in future versions. If I close that file down and look at opening that file up again, Protect Formulas, immediately opens back up. Notice that I get what they call a message bar, I believe, this yellow bar along the top. The security warning saying that macros have been disabled. Would I like to enable them? Save it as a macro enabled file, seeing a .xlm extension at the top there, which you may not see on your version of Excel. It's a setting you can choose on or off. Does not initially, immediately enable them. If I send this to Fred, who works in the Hong Kong office, then the macro is not going to be immediately available to him. Or it depends on his security settings, to be fair. But it is there. They would have to enable them. This is a security feature to ensure that if you've downloaded this file off the internet, or you've been emailed it from somebody you've not met before, a new client maybe, then you're initially protected. It might be dangerous. Unfortunately, people do use this as a way of delivering malicious software. So you do have to be careful. It is programming. But for the most part in a business scenario, you probably know this individual. It may even be yourself, and we can enable it. Just to mention on that scenario there, that if I go into my File tab, and if I go to my Options button, and into the Trust Center settings, and I have this macro settings option, because you can change your macro security settings. Now this is probably controlled by IT within your company, so it's not my place to tell you what you should or should not do here, or even if you're able to do it. That should be controlled centrally. But from a personal viewpoint, it's up to you what you do here. Notice the option to enable all macros and you'll never get that setting again can be chosen. They say it's not recommended. Microsoft aren't going to say, oh yeah, go and do that. because you could be sent something malicious. It's potentially dangerous. So the default, and the one I keep because I get sent a lot of files, is to disable all macros but with the notification. But there are other settings there. You can full on disable them or allow everything should you be that free in your life. But that is us saving it as a macro enabled file, essential if you do have a macro on a file.